if you just make one switch and you buy one thing that is fair trade, or, not fast fashion, or whatever it may be, it can positively impact so many people.
In this episode, I had the pleasure of speaking with Julie Colombino-Billingham, founder of Deux Mains, a fair trade fashion brand in Haiti that creates luxury leather handbags and accessories while providing meaningful employment. What began as earthquake recovery has grown into an internationally recognized brand with partners including the United Nations, USAID, and Nordstrom. Julie is also the author of the memoir From Loss to Legacy, where she shares her journey of turning disaster relief into sustainable opportunity. Welcome to the show, Julie.
Hi, Tasha. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Thank you for coming on to the show. Well, why don't you tell the audience about yourself?
Well, now I'm an author and I'm a social entrepreneur. I was a former dancer. I've been kind of all over the place in this world. But what started as like an international disaster response to Haiti has kind of changed my whole life into being, the owner of a fashion company that really just strives to bring great jobs to Haitian craftspeople.
That is absolutely amazing. And I can't wait until we jump into your story a little bit more. So, deux mains
Mhm.
means two hands. So, what was the defining moment when you realized that this brand was more than fashion and actually a calling?
Well, this whole business has been a calling, so when I landed in Haiti in 2010, I knew that I just needed to listen. Like, that was just kind of like this thing that was kept coming to me, Julie, listen more than you talk, don't speak, just, absorb what's happening around you. And, the actual call to go to Haiti happened the night before the earthquake. And so I am a trained disaster responder, so it makes sense that I would want to deploy and respond to this disaster. But really, the night before the earthquake hit, I just had this feeling in my heart, this like desire to go. And then when I heard the next day about the earthquake, I said, oh, okay, this is why, I'm feeling this call to go to Haiti. And the starting the business and that kind of response, that is the call. It was not about, this immediate disaster response and how can we help today and tomorrow, but how do we look at long-term generational poverty and how do we work and strive to fix that. And so it was just from the beginning. I mean, so that's, I guess, the short answer. From the very beginning, it was a call.
Wow, that is absolutely amazing. I'm kind of curious, so you mentioned that you're trained for disaster response. What made you get into that? That's a very peculiar calling, so that's why I was asking.
Is strange. So I have my master's in nonprofit management. I've always been really interested in like helping communities, like participating in community growth. And then when I was getting my master's degree, there was this what do you call it? Like a subset of disaster response and nonprofit management. And I thought that sounded really interesting. And I realized that I thrive well in chaos. And so I thought, oh, I'm going to study some of this like disaster response stuff as well. And I started taking classes with the Red Cross. I don't know if they still do it, but back in the day, I mean, this was like 20 years ago, they used to offer, these free classes on CPR and how to respond if there's a fire in the neighborhood, like how to do different things. And I just was really interested in all that. And so it made sense with the nonprofit management to kind of have this track that I specialized in.
Wow, that is absolutely amazing. I love that. Like I said, I saw your profile. I'm like, oh my goodness, I can't wait to have a conversation with her. Just your background is so impressive. And with that, how do your personal values or your faith shape the way that you make business decisions, especially when doing the right thing sometimes can cost us more, right?
Yeah, well, financially, I would say it probably in the short term it costs more. So I always like to kind of make this comparison. So
Mhm.
I'm in the fashion industry. So we make leather handbags and small leather goods from Haiti, and we try to, get people excited about buying things made in Haiti, buying things that are fair trade. And so the opposite of fair trade is fast fashion. And
Yeah.
so to buy a handbag, that is probably made with like, slave labor in a sweatshop, bad materials that are bad for the environment, maybe it would cost you $25. But the long-term cost of that bag is it will probably only last you 2 to 3 months. And so you're buying that bag over and over and over again. So so the reason I'm making this analogy is because it's like the short-term costs are less, but the lot, and so if I wanted to invest in like a fair trade bag that's, where people are making a living wage, where the raw materials aren't hurting the environment, maybe I'm throwing down $150 to start, but that bag is going to last me 10 years. And
Yeah.
so it's like this kind of like short-term versus like long-term cost. And I would say it's that way in business as well. So when you have a mission-driven business, the short-term costs, it's like they always equal out in the end. And every decision that we make is to ensure that the people on the manufacturing line have access to dignified living wages, maternity leave, paternity leave, um, paid vacation, like all the things that all human beings are entitled to. And the only way that that's possible is if certain things cost a certain amount of money, And
Yeah.
so it's changing the systems. And so our business stands behind that. And every single decision lines up to those values. Will my team, make a living wage based on these decisions? And that's kind of the end of the story.
And I love that. And I actually want to go a little bit deeper into that story. What made you start this business?
So as a disaster responder, especially after the Haiti earthquake, everything, the catastrophe was by far the greatest, most horrific humanitarian crisis I'd ever responded to. So over, 200,000 people dead, over 1 million people displaced. I mean, there was not one person you could pass in the Port-au-Prince area that was not negatively affected in massive ways. And so what I was doing at that time was basic logistics and handing out like water bottles and tarps and tents and going through different camps. And it's like serious, first responder, like not thinking about anything except people need water or they're not going to survive.
Yeah.
And so it was those early days and I'm handing out bottles of water and a Haitian woman taps me on the shoulder and she says, blanc, moi pas besoin de l'eau, moi voulais travail. And at the time I didn't speak Creole, so I didn't know what she said. And so I had this gentleman translate it for me. And what she said was, white lady, I don't need any water. I don't want any water, but I need a job.
Ooh,
And
okay.
it was this moment, this aha moment, and this like, oh, this is why God said, listen instead of talk. Listen to what the people are saying. What do the people of Haiti need? Because they know far better than anyone else what it's going to take to not only rebuild from the earthquake, but to start rebuilding from the poverty that has, consumed the island for so long. And so that was the reason. That was the true catalyst of changing everything about my life was that woman.
Wow. That story gives me goosebumps. Like that is crazy. Like that's amazing. And it just goes to show you how much of an impact so many of us live our lives thinking that we're in silos, but we're
Yeah.
really connected.
So connected. I mean, and everything that we do matters. And that's why I always say too, like, whatever you purchase, it will affect somebody either positively or negatively based on how they were treated in that manufacturing process. So we have so much power as consumers that if you just make one switch and you buy one thing that is fair trade or not fast fashion or whatever it may be, it can positively impact so many people. And that's a position of power for us as
Yeah.
consumers. And it's a big responsibility.
Yeah, and another reason why I wanted to have you on too, because I saw this documentary when you talk about fast fashion, how a lot of these clothes end up, I cannot remember the country. Yeah, I can't remember the country. It was somewhere in Africa, and it was just like piles and piles
Oh
of
yeah.
clothes.
And I've read different statistics, but I've heard sometimes up to 70% of it is already garbage when it arrives.
Yes,
Basically, we are turning other countries into our dumping grounds.
exactly.
Yes, it is a terrible, terrible, not only financial burden to all manufacturers, but to the environment. I mean, it
Yeah,
is it is a massive crisis. And so fast fashion, um, it's a powerful weapon against all of us. It's something that we
yeah.
should all be fighting against, but it's hard to change consumer patterns.
Yeah, no, I get it. I get it. And actually, that's a perfect segue into the next question. So, people do love the idea of the ethical fashion, right? But what's the hardest truth about building a truly ethical supply chain that most consumers don't see?
I mean, to be honest, it's not that hard to build an ethical supply chain. It's hard to get customers to purchase at the price that it takes to make it ethical. You
Ooh,
know, you know,
okay.
so I can't sell my like I have to sell a handbag for a certain cost. Again, you can find it cheaper. You can
Sure.
find it with vegan fake leather, which is vegan leather is plastic. It doesn't
Yeah.
biodegrade. It's terrible for the environment, and you're wearing microplastics. So we won't even talk about that yet. But
Yeah.
like leather versus real leather, it's already an issue. But ensuring like if you're buying a t-shirt that's $6, I can guarantee you the person that made that works 12 to 18 hours a day and did not get paid a living wage because it's impossible. It is impossible to
Ooh.
manufacture at these prices. And so that's why I'm saying it's such a responsibility as a consumer because of course we all want to buy the cheapest thing. We all want the greatest value, the greatest deal, but it's hard to get people to think that, back in the day, having something that you would wash and wear 30 to 50 times was normal.
Mhm.
Now garments have 3 to 5 washes and people throw them away. Or like you said earlier, throw them to the charity shop. Then they maybe have 2 or 3 more washes before they're garbage and end up
Mhm.
in another country.
Yeah.
So it is a massive issue that we have to tackle.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just, I can't, that was one of the reasons I wanted to bring attention to this because I really I feel like not enough attention is being paid to this, and a lot of other countries that, are downwind, if you will, of the whole situation are suffering the consequences, and not enough people are realizing this.
It's so true, Tasha. And that's why I'm so grateful that you are bringing attention to it and allowing us to share like what we've
Yeah.
learned in this industry. Because especially, as Christians, I like to talk a lot about, and I actually have a chapter about this in my book, talking about, you know, God cares about how we spend our money.
Yes. Yeah.
You know?
I agree.
So it is more than just thoughts and prayers. It is physical action about how we honor our dollars and every single person that is affected by those dollars. And you'll see that there's mention of money and how we spend our money in the Bible a lot because it matters. It
Yeah.
really matters. And so if all people, all Christian people even, spent their dollars with intention and ensured things were made fair trade, or that people were not in slave situations in
Yeah.
the manufacturing of their products, the whole world would look different.
Oh, yeah. Wholeheartedly agree. Wholeheartedly agree. And now, a word from our sponsor. When clarity turns into action, execution matters. Starring You is a consulting firm for individuals and organizations ready to implement with clarity and intention. Through one-on-one consulting and strategic support, we help individuals and organizations refine their message, build brands, create content, and launch podcasts, books, and offers with structure and confidence. Starring You is not about rushing the process or copying trends. We focus on individualized strategy, clear direction, and intentional execution. To learn more or to book a strategy session, head on over to starringyou.com. And that's STARENGU.com. Head on over to starringyou.com. Back to the show. So, when you're responsible not just for profits, but for people's livelihoods, how does that change the way that you lead?
Well, I've never led any other way, so I don't really know, much anything other than what we've done because
Sure.
the responsibility
Hmm.
uh, to ensure we do this well is so massive. I mean, like ulcer causing massive. Like I can't think of a year where like I was like, oh, I've got raging ulcers, or I only sleep 3 nights, 3 hours a night, um, because the responsibility is so massive, and that's why I'm so grateful for my leadership team because my team in Haiti I mean, they run the factory, they put on all the pressure right now. So for me, I'm just a salesperson, and I am pretty much a spokesperson for the team, but they really have all the pressure, is to make sure that the factory is operating smoothly. Haiti is a difficult place these days since the presidential assassination 4 years ago. Gangs have really infiltrated the capital city, and so it's it's a civil war zone for the team. And so getting to and from work is not easy. Manufacturing with dignity in the way that they still conduct themselves in the business is not easy, but they do it every single day. And they are definitely the heroes of this story because they are the ones ensuring that there is still something amazing coming out of Haiti, even amongst these conditions.
I love that. I love that. You know, purpose-driven entrepreneurs often feel pressure to carry it all, right? So, how have you learned to pursue impact without burning out in the process?
I would say there's been a lot of burnout in the process.
It's okay. I was hoping that wasn't the case, but I figured as much, just a little bit.
But I think it goes back again to sharing, with the leadership team. So nobody builds a company on their own.
Yes.
And I mean, maybe they say they do, but I don't know. But like from especially our company, this was, built by so many different people. And so by sharing that burden, that's how we protect ourselves and take care of each other is by, shared decision making, full transparency, leading from within, growing from within, so that like the values that the company started with 15 years ago still live today. The same people that worked 15 years ago are now managers and leaders. So it's like the values have just grown stronger, and the roots and the foundations of Deux Mains are forever implanted in the growth. So I think that those are kind of important ways that we've protected ourselves.
I love that. I love that. Was there ever a season where Dumais didn't look successful by the world standards, but you knew exactly where you were supposed to be?
Oh my gosh. I mean, if I'm going to be completely transparent with you, like success it's a funny word because,
Yeah.
I don't even consider us financially stable yet. Like, I mean, 15 years into this and things hit you in all different ways. And so even though we've never been more successful in the terms of, like, for example, we're selling at Nordstrom's. So, I mean, that is amazing that a
Amazing.
Haitian made brand is being distributed in one of the like the largest, most reputable department stores in the United States. I mean, it is such an honor for us. It's just so amazing. And not only are we making handbags and small other goods for export, but we make school shoes for local distribution for Haitian school children, and that's a huge part of our business, one that brings us so much pride and joy. And we've got dozens of different partners that we distribute shoes through, and we love that. So like things, definitely like from the outside look good, but like I said, the struggles of running this business are um, so grave. There's more downs than ups. And so
Sure.
we just kind of keep like chugging through. And I believe in like the core of my being that this business is meant to not only just employ the 50 people that it does now, but 5,000, and then 10,000, and then 20,000, and then like this is how businesses can and should be run. So that's kind of the ultimate goal and dream.
I love that. And the mere fact that you're 15 years into this, just
Mhm.
so you may not feel like it's success, but to me, that sounds amazing. That to me is success to be able to have that type of longevity and
Yeah,
still be ethical. I tell people
yeah,
all the time, it's possible. It's
yeah,
just did you make the decision to do it? And
yeah.
actually, I have a feeling one of the reasons why is because you put God first, right? So how do you balance trusting God or or your mission while you're still making smart, sustainable business decisions?
Yeah, you know what? I mean, it's really not easy, and I think that my faith has gone through so many bumps in the road where thinking, you know, God didn't love me anymore. God doesn't exist. God's not in this business. God doesn't care about Haiti. I mean, I've had God doesn't care about me. All of those things, because the struggles that we have and the challenges that the people of Haiti face are so severe. That and then it's also like we're in the fashion industry, so it's like
Okay.
the competition of fast fashion and all these brands that aren't doing good things. You're seeing them have success, so it all kind of like eats away at your heart. But again, I have to go back to the team is so faithful
Hmm.
that if ever my faith is being challenged, I just go home to Haiti. I listen to my team because it is their faith that keeps things on the right trajectory and keeps us in the right standing. And I'm also very lucky that our investors are faith based, and so a lot of people involved in the company, are praying for us and working towards our success because they believe in mission driven business and kingdom businesses. And so even if the world um, may not seem to support companies like this, there's a small faction of that's surrounding us that is. So it helps.
I love that. And so, how has your definition of success changed since starting Deux Mains?
Um, that is a really good question, Tasha. I would say it's changed in the sense of I used to just think every sale mattered, which it does, but
Sure.
now I really look at like profit margins. And because things are so slim right now, the cost of operating in Haiti since the gangs, took over the country has about tripled. And so if
Mm,
we didn't have patient investors, any business person would just say, close up shop and move to a different place where the cost of operating isn't so expensive. But
yeah.
because our mission is to bring great jobs to Haitian people, we stay put, right? And so even though the cost of business is, so it's like, we are seeing business go like this, but you're watching margins kind of stay like this. And
Yeah.
it's a really hard way to operate a business. So now I'm like really finicky, about, what decisions, what partnerships am I making to ensure margins stay profitable for the team. So I
Wow.
would I would say it's less about like how many pieces we're selling and that we're selling pieces at the right margin to keep the business sustainable.
That's got to be difficult. My background is marketing and communication in business, so I totally understand
You know what I'm
how
saying? Yeah.
difficult that has got to be, and that's why I said hats off to you. But I had to ask that question.
So thank you. You ask really good questions. You
Thank
get
you, thank
challenging
you,
me.
thank you. Yeah. Oh my goodness. So when people talk about Deux Mains years
Mhm.
from now, what do you hope they say, not just about the products, but about the impact?
You know, the media and kind of like what people see coming out of Haiti is one of, usually like despair and poverty and the one statement that everybody says, oh, it's the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere, which it is, but Deux Mains hopes to like change that story to celebrate the artistry and the creativeness and the brilliance behind the people of Haiti because all of that still exists. The thing that Haiti is lacking is opportunity and
Mm,
for many reasons. But Haiti is the very first free Black republic, ending slavery 50 years before the United States did. I mean, it is remarkable what Haitians have done.
yeah.
And the way that I feel, and some people, some historians will say like Haiti is still being punished for that. And so whether or not you believe that's true, Haiti has had a stroke of bad luck for sure, right? And
Mm.
so I would hope that when people think about Deux Mains, think about the brand, they think about the beauty that is possible that comes out of Haiti, the community, the family, the wisdom, the intelligence. I mean, all of the things that I see in the Haitian people.
I love that. I love that. Julie, oh my goodness, just talking to you is just amazing. I really appreciate the work that you're doing, and I just think it's awesome. I think it's amazing,
Oh,
absolutely amazing. So I know we're early into 2026, but if you had to choose one word to represent your goals for this year, what would it be and why?
can it be two words?
Normally don't let you guys cheat, but yeah, that's okay. Go ahead, go ahead, go ahead. No, I'm teasing. Go ahead.
One phrase, but what it would be would financial freedom.
Ooh,
So
okay.
financial, so that is like our goal for every person that works at Domain. And so individually, we are financially free. But what I would hope for the business, that the business can be financially free, you
Mm,
know?
okay.
And it takes a long time for companies to get that way, but that would be my hope that we can strategically and smartly place the company um, to be financially free.
I love that. I love that. And you could slide with the two words, so that's okay. That makes sense. Oh my goodness. So, last but not least, what would you say to a woman who feels called to build something meaningful, but she's afraid that she's not ready or she feels like she isn't enough?
Mm. Well, I think when you're really called to live out your mission, you're never ready because it's a learning experience.
So
And
true.
so I would say, the advice that I got and, what I heard in my heart before I started my company was listen to the people around me. So, particularly for me, I was a foreigner, a guest in another country, in another community. So, listening to my colleagues has been essential. But then I found, even through the years of building this business and having a US based team, listening to my colleagues and knowing that the smartest business people bring in smarter people than them to build their company. And so why bring them in if you're not going to listen to them? So always listening to your colleagues, and ensuring that they, not only that you listen to them, but that you respect the talent that they bring to the table, and let your business, learn and enhance from that. Otherwise, it's kind of wasted, right? So I would say she's got to go for it. You got to go for it, and you just gotta not be scared.
I love that. I love that. Julie, with that said, it has been an absolute pleasure having you on to the show. Thank you so much for coming on. And if folks want to get in touch with you, how can they go about doing so? And if there's any projects or events that you have coming up, let us know.
Okay, well, I would definitely love everyone to check out the website, which is deuxmains.com, and it's DEUXMAINS. We're at Deux Mains_official on Instagram. And also, our memoir From Lost to Legacy is out, and you can get that on Amazon or on our website. But we'd love to, talk about, building this fashion business, from Haiti's rubble, and all the different things that have happened. And there's lots of stories from my colleagues. So some that maybe don't speak English. So if they've been translated into English, you get to hear these amazing stories. Would love to share that with the people that listen to this podcast.
Fantastic. And all of that information is also going to be on the Hustle and Faith podcast, as well as in the show notes. Julie, I truly mean it. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy, busy schedule to come out to the Hustle and Faith podcast. Thank you so much.
No, it's been my true pleasure. Thank you, Tasha.
Have you ever looked at your life and thought, God, I thought I'd be farther along than this? Maybe you're single, maybe you're rebuilding, maybe life hasn't gone the way you planned. Let me remind you of a truth most people won't say out loud. Your life does not start when a relationship begins, your purpose doesn't wait on a ring, and your calling doesn't need permission from anyone but God. And that's exactly why I wrote How to Live an Extraordinary Life with or Without Mr. Right. This isn't another book telling you to sit still and wait. It's a roadmap for becoming the woman God created you to be. In your joy, in your purpose, in your gifts, in your confidence. Inside, you're going to learn how to hear God's voice above the noise, build a life that excites you, break free from comparison and timelines, and walk boldly, knowing you are already whole. You are not behind, you are not forgotten, you are becoming. Grab your copy today and let's build the extraordinary life God designed for you.